Welcome to Squadron Scale Workshop. My name is Brett Green, here in sunny Sydney on another day of isolation. Hope your isolation is going okay too. But I haven't been completely isolated because the postman did actually bring me a new parcel a few minutes ago, in fact. And it contained not one but two, because I bought two of them, Airfix 1/48 scale Tiger Moths. So this is the brand new kit from Airfix. Up until now, I'm only aware of two injection molded 48 scale Tiger Moth kits. The first one was from Smr, the Russian model company, from, well, almost Cold War era, I guess. Almost sounded like one of the Bond villain agencies, didn't it really? Smr. Yes, I am the head of Smr. But it's not. However, it wasn't a great kit. I think it was a little undersized, probably around 1/50th. The surface textures, particularly the fabric surface textures of the upper surfaces of the wings, were exaggerated, to say the least. So the great wavy kind of attempt at showing stretched fabric. It had raised circles for the various roundels on the fuselage, maybe on the wings as well, and virtually no interior detail. So beggars can't be choosers, though. That was the only one for a long time. But then Aero Club came along with an excellent, in terms of detail and, surface textures and accuracy, low pressure multimedia kit. So the main parts were in Aero Club's typical brown low pressure injection molded plastic, and it had white metal parts as well, I think, for the struts, if I recall correctly. I've got a couple of those in my collection as well. But now Airfix has changed the game with a brand new 48 scale kit. I thought that I would share the joy of something new with all of you as well. So we'll just have a brief unboxing. I'll do a proper detailed high definition photo review of the kit in the next day or two as well. But in the meantime, let's see what's in the box. Use my favourite Alpha knife. Tamiya actually produce these now. They're black, they're not yellow, but you'll see mine's had a lot of love over the years. It's harder than it should have been. Right, so the lid is off. We have all the plastic parts in a single plastic bag. I'll get my favourite Alpha knife out again. And that didn't do the trick. Must need a new blade. And let's just take a look sprue by sprue. So we have here the main sprue, or one of the main sprues, with the fuselage halves. It also has engine cowls, has the fin with the rudder integrated, and it looks like there are two different styles of horizontal stabilizer and elevators, one alone and one with some sort of an extension on the front. So I don't know whether that might be some kind of a counterweight. I'm sure the Tiger Moth aficionados will be able to let us know. But just looking at the fabric texture, stretched fabric texture on the tail surfaces and the fuselage, it's very nice. It's quite subtle. You can probably see there. There's also an engine actually molded onto the front of the fuselage halves. And we can see inside we have some sidewall, tubular sidewall detail molded onto the inside of the fuselage as well. So that's sprue number one. Not too many parts on there. I've got a feeling this is not going to be a particularly difficult build. The wings are presented as a single part for the upper wings, full span, and single part for the lower wings. And once again, the fabric texture is really nice and subtle. You can see the leading edges of the lower wing have a little sort of a finer scallop to them, and there are two styles of propeller blade there as well. We can see on the inside surface of the upper wing there's a nice deep locating slot for what will probably be a pair of struts. I haven't gotten to the struts quite yet, but let's get there right now. And the third sprue is also the last sprue, and this contains the detail parts, and as I suspected, the main interplane struts are joined by a long bar which will go into that slot. We have the cabane struts as well, which are actually in the same sort of way connected to each other. So you've only got a total of 4 parts making up all of the struts on this kit, which would make it pretty ideal for a new Model 2 biplanes. We have a lot of little detail parts here. Once again, the structural arrangement for the tail wheel, sorry, the main wheel assembly is a single part, and we have various detail parts, including things like the fairly simple instrument panels and seat and interior. But having flown in one of these things a couple of times, I can assure you they are very simple. They're very basic inside. What else do we have here? Presumably we have a clue spear. We have a clear sprue. You see, I'm not used to talking to people after being in isolation for a couple of weeks. I should do this more often. Okay. My son actually is here as well, but he's spending most of his time on a keyboard under headphones and doing university online. So we have here then 2 tiny itsy bitsy windscreens on the single clear sprue, and they look fine, no problem there. We also have, let me just put that away so I don't lose it, pop it back in its little bag and pop that back in its big bag. We also have decals, which are very nicely printed. They're glossy, they look like cartograph, although I couldn't see them in my very quick look then. Couldn't confirm that, but they certainly look cartograph quality. They're nice and glossy. I don't think they'll give anyone any trouble. We've got 2 fairly colourful schemes there. And we also have your typical Airfix instructions with quite easy to follow diagrams. They shouldn't present any real challenges, I don't think. And as I say, it's a fairly small number of parts, so I don't think you'll really have a great deal of trouble building this one. It's been thoughtfully engineered as well with those single piece struts for both the cabane and interplane struts. So there we have it. That's the brand new Airfix 1/48 scale Tiger Moth. I really like this aircraft, and as I mentioned, I flew in a couple 10 or 15 years ago, and I have a real soft spot for these, which is why I bought 2. And it looks like I was justified as well. Now, this is actually quite a few months late compared to when it was originally announced. I'm kind of hoping that Airfix have addressed some of their quality control issues, and that the reason it might be a bit late is because they've fixed the problems before the kit was released rather than after. And certainly just looking at the sprues initially, I can't see any of those bad sink marks or short shots that we've seen on some recent Airfix kits particularly in the early runs. So this is really the danger period. It looks really good. Detail is fine. I'm fine as in really lovely and delicate. The surface textures look really good on the fabric. There's plenty of detail for what is a very simple aeroplane, and it looks like it should be a fairly quick build as well, and thoughtfully engineered for those who might not have built too many biplanes before. So here's another winner, I'd say, for Airfix. I'm looking forward to building this one myself at some stage quite soon, and I'll have that HD photo and text review on HyperScale in the next day or two as well, so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, though, that's it from Squadron Scale Workshop. I'm Brett Green. Have a nice isolation. Bye for now.